Hi, today we talk about recruitment challenges and what a buyer is considering when they're looking at your setting. So obviously, as we know, there's been quite a lot of recruitment challenges over the last few years, and fingers crossed, worst of that has passed. But actually, we work within a sector where there's always a challenge to recruitment. We're constantly trying to make sure that we have staff, and we're trying to make sure that the supermarkets don't nick them or anything like that. So it is a constant challenge and something buyers are very, very aware of. So when they're looking at your setting, they want to know how settled are the staff, how long have they been there, what's your churn of apprentices, that kind of thing. And they really want to know is it a nice, solid team? This is especially true if they're looking to not work within the setting themselves. So if you have someone like a group, or if you have someone who is looking to build their group and wants to not be in setting every day, then they're particularly looking at the management team. So it does mean that if you're working within the setting as a manager, then they need to consider how they're going to replace you. And it's not as simple as just going, oh, don't worry, I'll get another manager, because we all know, actually, managers in nursery, you've got to really, really look for them. There's good ones out there, but you've got to find them and pin them down, and the competition for them is fierce. So it may be that actually a buyer's saying, well, yeah, I'm happy to bring a manager in, but you can't go on completion. I need you to stay and almost bring the manager in and get them in and get them settled, because actually I'm not going to be there. So I'm not going to be there to show them the ropes and get them bedded in. Or it might be that actually there's concerns as to whether the manager you have in place is a solid manager. This is a big issue, especially for first-time buyers who are looking to invest in a setting and not work there themselves. Because actually the banks take the view that they are very much at the mercy of that manager. Considering, the regulations that have to be met, the qualifications that need to be in place, if as someone who has no experience in the nursery sector at all buys a setting, and then the day after completion, the nursery manager turns around and goes, well, I'm the point of contact for everything. I'm your most qualified member of staff. I'm the reason this nursery managed to open this morning, and I'd like an extra £10,000 a year, please. Then actually, in reality, they're not in a position to say no. And then if it's asked to go for again in 6 months' time, they're still not in a position to say no. It's quite a humbling position to be in when you're actually going to be at the mercy of this employee. And the banks are very aware of that. And actually a lot of buyers don't consider that until they start talking finance. So it might be an offer's been made and it agreed and is moving forward. And then suddenly the bank goes, hang on, we're not sure if this is going to work. Recruitment is going to be an ongoing issue. It always is. And I know most settings nowadays basically have a role in recruitment. Buyers are very, very aware of that. They expect a certain amount of churn throughout a sale. Things will change. And actually, we need to consider also things like wages increases during sales as well. Obviously, the big thing at the moment is we've just had quite a large national minimum wage increase, and we've just had quite a large employers' NI increase. And so buyers are looking at that, because while actually in reality, you can only value on what's happened, we're looking at the income for the last 12 months. You can't then put next year's salaries against that and expect the business to be making money. You're expecting the business to increase the income to support those increases, but they will need to know what's going on with them. They will need to know what's going on with the staff. They're going to need things like how long have they been there, what are their qualifications, because overall they need to make sure that team is solid, and that when you sell and when you complete and when you walk away, it's not just going to dismantle behind you. I hope you found that useful. If you have any questions, please drop them below, and hopefully we'll speak again soon.